Hello, and welcome to an Easter special episode of the Football is Fixable Alright podcast. This week it's just Dan and me. How are we doing, mate? You alright?
Happy Easter. Yes, I am well, thank you. How are you, sir?
Yeah, very good. Did you get any eggs?
I did actually. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't.
No, I did. Yeah, I got a few. I got a few of very.
Easter Bunny ignores me these days. I don't know. I must have said something.
I don't know. I think isn't Seth the Easter Bunny? Is that why he's not here today? He doesn't like you, does he? So that makes a lot of sense. He has that personal thing against you, and I'm his favourite. So naturally, I'd get eggs and you wouldn't.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, obviously, when you're kids, you get loads of eggs and things like that, and it's just got to that stage in your life where you don't get them so much these days. But my mum, every year, gets a little sandwich bag, and she fills it with a load of chocolates, and she doesn't let my dad know. She just comes, right, here you go, have some. I've got you some chocolates, and it's like, don't tell your dad. It's just like, Mum, I'm 38, but it's
amazing.
Yeah, she gave it to me today. It's like, oh, thanks.
Secret chocolate under the table.
It basically is, because my dad would say, he doesn't need that anymore. You know,
bootleg chocolate.
Mama's boy. Yeah, exactly. Anyway, well, as it is an Easter special, we thought we'd have a real look at what are the things that are really troubling football. Christians. Specifically, the name Christian.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, are there any Christian names that you have in mind, Dan, that you think we need to definitely address those?
There's Matthew, Mark, Luke,
No.
John. They're all Christian.
No, as in not Christian names, but I mean the name Christian. So,
names of footballers named Christian.
Exactly.
I'm with you.
Yes. You stick with us on this one, guys, because Dan and I have realised that actually there's a lot of players that have had kind of unfortunate careers, or you might even say cursed by the end of this episode after some of the things we're going to talk about, sort of careers that didn't materialise as it perhaps should have done, or maybe too much was expected of them and they were kind of always held against unreasonable expectations. So
I feel like there's like an untapped correlation between all of the things we have wanted to fix over the years and the name Christian, which has only really come to light since looking up this idea and this name.
Yeah, doing research for the episode, we've suddenly thought, hang on a second, this is like,
so there's
loads of problems we've fixed this season.
There's 3 Christians we've found that embody a mix of lots of different things we've tried to fix in the last few years. So
first then we've got Christian Pulisic. Second, we've got Christian Benteke.
Yes. And finally was my suggestion, Christian Eriksen.
Yeah, I mean there are others too that I'm sure we can mention, but we just want to talk about these because they, as you were saying, Dan, they kind of they embody the issues that we fixed across this season and last season as well, issues around football that we've had to fix. And I don't know, they sort of seem to have had unfortunate moments in their career because of one or more of those reasons. So can I start us off with Christian Pulisic, Dan?
Yeah, crack on.
Little bit about the American hero.
Yes.
Captain America.
Is this...
he's the leader of the American soccer team.
I just want to just save any time for any Chelsea fans that we may potentially have left, if there's any, after last week's episode. This isn't
Probably not.
another chance for us to berate Chelsea, just so that we are all fully on board. This is not about that. So, yes.
No, I said it in last week's episode. We love Chelsea, really, don't we?
I mean...
Certainly no dislike there at all.
You were spitting fire. Honestly, it was a sight to behold.
Don't know what you're talking about. So, Christian Pulisic. So, he is the American soccer player.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Stars and Stripes.
Stars and Stripes and all that, yeah.
Banner.
And he's like their kind of flag bearer, really. He's the leader of the national team. He played at Chelsea. And he was kind of really bigged up, wasn't he, when he came to Chelsea? As like, how good will he be? The Americans thought, he's in the Premier League and he's going to be amazing. And he...
Yeah. They like a brand, don't they? They like a brand and a name and an icon.
And I think that's probably what Chelsea were thinking. I mean, I don't mean to... I think he was a good player, Pulisic, don't get me wrong, but I don't think he's a top elite player, and I think there's lots of evidence to back what I'm saying. But whatever you think of him, he was a good marketing signing, wasn't he, for Chelsea? If you think about it, Chelsea, one of the big six, as we say, and in terms of you're trying to sell shirts around the world, America is a growing market for the Premier League. They love the Premier League over there. Yeah. And if you sign the American captain, the American leader, the one that they hang their hopes on, and they will be for this summer's World Cup as well, I mean, it's a good, brand choice.
The main thing, so for me, the bit that I want to get across with Christian Pulisic, I think what he embodies is, so he won a Champions League with Chelsea in 2021, and I feel like what happened was, once he had that badge of Champions League winner, it's all people needed to be able to brand him as this incredible footballer. And we've done this topic a lot. This is where we speak about accolades over individual ability, where people rate a player, and Cesc goes on about this a lot as well. You'll hear people rating a player and they say, "Oh, I'll definitely put him in my team because he's won all of this stuff." When winning things has got nothing to do with your actual ability as a player. If that's the case, then Scott Carson was one of the greatest goalkeepers in the history of the game.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that's the thing, we were talking about it recently with Salah. Once we heard in the news that he's announced he's going to leave at the end of the season, that type of thing, it naturally gets fans saying, where does he fit in the all-time Premier League best players and that sort of stuff. And then Man City fans saying, but De Bruyne won 6 Premier Leagues to Salah's 2. And it's sort of, well, how does that make sense? Steven Gerrard never won a Premier League. Does that mean he's nowhere near one of the best players? He's certainly one of the top Liverpool players in my mind. So
I mean, personally, I would have De Bruyne over Salah, but that's because I think De Bruyne is the better player, not because De Bruyne won more trophies.
And you're a United fan.
No. I think.
No, well, a little bit, but
well, maybe it's a bit of that, maybe. But no, I do think from what De Bruyne did in that team, I just think he was incredible. I think he's one of the best midfielders ever to play in the Premier League. So, and Salah's been okay. Salah's been very good. He's been amazing, Danny. Yeah, okay, fine. He's been amazing, but in terms of forward players, I don't know if Salah's in the top forward players in Premier League history or something, but
maybe that's something we need later on this season. Maybe near the end of the season, we can look at the top players and where they fit.
Yeah,
using our more sensible measures, so we can actually debate and discuss that and sort of say we're not using trophies because we fix this.
Yeah, that is a topic for another day. That's fair. But your
point remains, doesn't it?
Yeah. You can't use trophies as a guideline. I know you were saying about Pulisic's numbers earlier on. So, I mean, what are his
I've got some numbers here. He was at Borussia Dortmund, so he has 81 appearances and 10 goals. Then he goes to Chelsea, 2019 to 2023, 98 appearances, 20 goals.
Oh, that elite. Specifically, what about the Champions League season? So when they won the Champions League, and that's going to be when he's obviously got his trophy, and that's what, he's a Champions League winner and all that stuff. What did he actually do that season?
So that season, 2020 to 2021, he had 38 appearances across all competitions, scoring 8 goals. So, again, another. I don't want us to fall into the trap. We fix this as well. Using stats to make a sole judgment on a player isn't fair either, is it?
We will cover this topic later. This is for another Christian, I'm afraid.
These Christians, man. But yeah, using stats obviously isn't necessarily the fair representation either, as we will, as Dan says, get into. But then he goes to Borussia Dortmund again on loan, where he has 9 appearances and scores 3. Then he's at AC Milan, where he currently is now. And as things stand, at point of recording, he's 93 appearances to 31 goals. So you're talking 1 in 3 is kind of his, which for a midfield player isn't too bad. He's sort of
That's
like a
not
midfield dribbler, creative player, isn't he? So it's not too bad.
Yeah, that's not a bad return, but it is for AC Milan, and the Italian league is not the most competitive.
True. Yep, and it shows that in the Premier League he did struggle more with that intense competition and physicality and that sort of thing.
I think as a brand and an idea as a footballer and the way he's marketed, it's quite easily to pigeonhole him into a certain bracket of player that he just isn't.
And it's not fair on him. He's seen as the talisman for America, and Americans will naturally make him out to be one of the greatest players in the world. But little do they know that there's a continent in the world known as Europe, where most of the best players in the world of football are, or soccer as they call it.
It's like if Sao Paulo had to go to war, and the whole village in Sao Paulo turns to the guy that runs the gym because he's the strongest bloke there, and there's like, you can beat them.
You're the strongest guy. All our hopes are on you. You're the strongest guy in this village.
Yeah, exactly. And little do they know they're getting pounded.
Yeah, well, that's it. And it's not fair on Pulisic.
All hope is lost.
He's an honest, quality player. He's a useful player. He can do some good things. But he's kind of out of his depth when it comes to the elite table. But just to kind of illustrate the example of what I'm talking about here. So Fox Sports News released their top 26 players to look out for in this summer's World Cup. Usual suspects you might expect. In the top 5, Dan, you've got Messi, Ronaldo, Yamal, Mbappe, Erling Haaland at number 5. Then Christian Pulisic is number 6 in the top 26 players to look out for in this summer's World Cup. In the world.
That is just ridiculous. This is clearly like an article written for people that don't know a lot about football, and it's just drawing, like, it's just picking the big names everyone's heard of, and it's like, like when you're trying to explain football to somebody, if you look out for the ball, and then you want to look out for the white team and the red team,
Boston Red Sox,
it's going to go in the goal. We want to look out for goals. Okay, it feels like that kind of a vibe, doesn't it? And of course, they're going to say an American person, so that all of the American people reading this go, "Oh, there's an American on the list. Yeah, let's watch football or soccer."
Yeah.
Sorry,
well, exactly.
That's what they call
That's it.
But that ties into our fixes on bias in the past as well, doesn't it? You know, and maybe even a media agenda as well. So, just in the first Christian we've picked out, we've got fixing accolades to rate players, we've got fixing bias, and fixing media agenda. There's three from the first Christian.
There you go. Exactly. See what I mean about the problem with Christians?
This is unknowingly, obviously they seem to just attract all the things that we kind of want to fix about football. There seems to be something going on. So,
can I just say, in this top 26 of players to look out for from Fox Sports, you've got all, Bukayo Saka, you've got Salah.
They really don't know what they're talking about then, do they?
No. You've got Mo Salah, naturally, Rafinha. By the way, bear in mind that Pulisic is number 6. Mo Salah is number 24 on this list.
Oh, they know something then.
United fan again. 23 is Rafinha. But 25 is Saka. And then number 26 is Weston McKennie, the American soccer player.
Amazing.
I mean, in the top 26 of players, basically the top players to look out for in the World Cup.
I'm surprised Brad Fiedel isn't somewhere on that list.
Probably. Maybe his name doesn't have Christian. I'm guessing Weston McKennie's middle name is Christian or something. But
probably. Yeah. So we're clearly getting somewhere here. I think it's time to go into our second Christian. Who was our second one, James?
Right, yeah. So we've got Christian Benteke. So Premier League player for quite a long time.
Oh, yes.
Well, looking at his career, he played for Villa, he played for Liverpool and for Crystal Palace, so a number of years in the Premier League. So if you're a regular watcher of the Premier League, you'd have been exposed, shall I say, to Christian Benteke for a period of time, no doubt.
Ooh.
What was his problems, Dan? What would you say kind of summed up the kind of issues that he faced in football?
So I feel like the thing that Benteke kind of embodies is the fixing money in football that we touched on last season. Christian Benteke was scoring a load of goals. He was great at Villa. He went to Liverpool. His contract kind of got away from him a bit. Then they struggled to sell him. He ended up going off to Crystal Palace and then just couldn't hit a barn door. And I think
he basically just stopped scoring, didn't he? He was just there, but he didn't score for ages. It seemed like he'd go a whole season and just not score anything. But
exactly. And I think this is down to where you get over-involvement with agents and then money then gets involved. And then it really does start to play, because it must be really difficult to be on crazy amounts of money and then not let that impact your mindset, you know?
Well, we've seen it before, haven't we, with loads of big name players. We did the same thing with Aubameyang to convince him to stay after we won the FA Cup, and then he was a shadow of his former self, and he started turning up late to training and all that, and we're trying to get him off the books. We couldn't sell him because no club could afford him on the wages that he was on.
We had Marcus Rashford at United. He had that incredible season where he scored 30-odd goals or whatever, was like the one reason we managed to get third in the league that season. We gave him a massive contract, and then he was pretty poor, really, for then the rest of his time at United. So it happens so often.
Yeah, as we know, all of those players also had Christian as their middle name.
Obviously.
So,
in some way.
Christian Benteke, as that's his first name, he seemed to just get the whole brunt of it all at once. And he got a dream move, right? So when he joined Aston Villa, he came from Genk, where at Genk he played 37 times in the 2011-12 season and scored 19 goals. Pretty good record. But then he comes to the Premier League, and that's where at Villa he really had a top season, really. 2012-2015, 89 appearances, 42 goals, and that attracted Liverpool. And this is, well, Benteke's agent got him that move to Liverpool, 120 grand a week, and at Liverpool he kind of flopped. It was Brendan Rodgers that signed him, and he didn't last too long after Benteke joined, and then Klopp didn't really fancy him either. 29 appearances, 9 goals, and then he gets shipped off to Crystal Palace. 162 games at Crystal Palace, 35
He had
goals.
such ability as well. Like, I remember that bicycle kick he scored against us at Old Trafford. I think
Old Trafford. I remember that.
We did beat them that day, like 3-1 or something. But that was like such a good goal. It was like pick of the bunch.
Stole the day, really, didn't it? It was a top goal. And that's the thing. At Villa, he showed that as well. He clearly had the ability, but he was kind of a victim of, like what you were saying, Dan, in terms of agents trying to forward their players. Obviously, if their players get promoted, they get a bigger cut. So the agent kind of maybe against the best wishes of a player sometimes.
It must play on their mind.
Yeah. And when it comes to the agent, they get a big cut of any big money move that they can get their clients. You know, if they get Christian Benteke moved to Liverpool, they get a lovely fee, a nice cut of the fee as the agent. So some of them will kind of encourage their players to get a big money move, maybe if it's not in their best interests as the player's interest necessarily.
So there you go. So there's fixing money in football and fixing agents. There's another two that another Christian has ticked off of the list of things that we have fixed in the past.
This is it. So these Christians kind of just bring together all of the issues around football. So you wanted to talk about Christian Eriksen as well, didn't you?
And that's the final Christian, yeah. So for me, I don't think Eriksen has ever really had any kind of plaudits or rating as a footballer to the level perhaps he should have done in terms of his technical ability. It was so
Brilliant
high.
player.
Such a brilliant player.
Technically brilliant player. And you know what? You know that I won't pass up an opportunity to mention the great man. So Dennis Bergkamp, when Christian Eriksen was at Ajax, Bergkamp was asked, are there any players that stand out that you think could be really, really a top player and all that? And then Dennis said Christian Eriksen. He sort of thought straight away then the talent of this guy.
Yeah, I mean his decision making and like footballing intelligence was
exactly
so high.
His passing, his creativity, top player.
He just wasn't the most physical player, and this is what my gripe is it's kind of like where the modern game has gone so far towards athleticism, it's almost moving away from football.
Yeah, and we fixed this in the past as well, haven't we? We've said how football is now turned boring, maybe, because it's so system-orientated.
Exactly.
It's less... We talked about another episode how... where have all the mavericks gone? Because players aren't allowed to express themselves in the same way as they used to when we were growing up. It's kind of Eriksen was maybe a victim of that, wasn't he? Maybe he was born in the wrong era.
Yeah, I think so.
And he was in that Spurs side, wasn't he? That they were getting nosebleeds as a team because of how well they were doing. They didn't win anything, just putting it out there. But in terms of, when they had Kane, Son, Eriksen, that was a top front three, wasn't it?
Yeah, but the thing is, it's Kane, Son, Dele Alli that people think of in that team. I don't think Eriksen has ever got the plaudits perhaps he should have done. And that also goes down to the way the people view the game now. Obviously, since then, obviously we're talking now in stats like goals and assists. obviously they're not really there. You know, he played for Brentford, incredible at Brentford, absolutely incredible at Brentford.
Transform them. Yeah.
Transform them. But that season for them, he scored 1 goal and got 4 assists. The fact that he was incredible for Brentford that season will be totally looked over, and it won't be seen because he only got a goal and 4 assists that season. So the way people consume just means he'll never really get the rating or plaudits as a footballer as he probably deserves. And that's, you know, another thing that we've wanted to fix in the past as well.
Exactly.
So,
and then can I say, once again, probably through poor agent support as well, his agent, he then makes a disastrous decision to go to Man United. And we all know what ended up happening then. So one other little problem with him, just before we get to the break, is he looks uncannily like John, our fantasy football tips guru.
He does.
If that's not going to hold you back, I don't know what will.
Mm-hmm.
So there we are. One of the major issues that we've spotted in football that need addressing, we need to fix, are Christians. But now it's time for a halftime head scratcher.
So, for this week's halftime head scratcher, the first ever competitive penalty from a penalty shootout was scored by George Best on the 5th of August 1970 between Hull and Manchester United. But can you tell me how were games decided before penalty shootouts? Find out the answer after the break. Before the break, I asked you, how were games decided before the first ever penalty shootout? The truth? A simple coin toss. In fact, in 1968, in the European semi-finals, Italy managed to get through to the final by correctly guessing. A little bit unlucky for the Soviet Union there.
Thanks, Dan. Yeah, it's a good one, that one, isn't it?
Yeah, I just
Nice
find
bit of
it...
trivia.
Find it amazing. Like, it's literally just a step away from deciding rock, paper, scissors at the halfway line as to who wins a game.
Yeah, heads or tails, and that decides whether you go through to the final. Wow, that would be incredible.
And here he comes up to the centre line now. What the opposition don't know, he was actually rock, paper, scissors champion in 1952.
Yeah. Wow, that would be what an interesting way to end a game. Coin toss. Has anyone got a coin? Anyway, back to the matter at hand, Dan. We need to fix the Christian problem. And that is the name Christian when it comes to football. For all the reasons we mentioned before the break. Christian Pulisic. Sadly for him, he's seen as this flag bearer for America, and they big him up to be, you know, the player to look out for at the World Cup and that sort of thing. Ultimately, it comes down to our simple fixes we mentioned before, is stop bringing bias into it. And also media agendas. I mean, how that shapes the narrative, the people's perspectives, and it just unfairly puts pressure on players, and it sort of sets the bar out of reach. And it's just not fair on Pulisic, because he is a good player, but he's been set such a high target, such a lot of pressure on his shoulders, and it's just not fair. I think people should just appreciate him for what he can do, not what he can't do.
I think my fix for that would be just to recommend that all Americans watch coverage from other countries rather than from their own country to get
as long as it's not Sky and TNT, I'm all right with it.
That is also true.
So there we are for that one. Christian Benteke, any fixes shouting out, Dan?
I think when we spoke about salaries and agents and stuff in the past, we spoke about having more like bonus related like incentives. So rather than giving huge salaries, have the ability to earn that money if you are performing to the level you would be performing to. So no one gets carried away with a high salary and doesn't have the motivation anymore, and have like a bonus system where, you know, you can get that money if you're performing to the right level. So have it incentivized still.
Yeah, and that's fair. And it does, again, this one goes back to previous episodes we've had where we've put price caps on, you know, salary caps on the Premier League because the salaries are so ridiculous, they need capping. And that's something which the Premier League's looking to bring in, I think. And then agents as well. Agents need tighter regulation, and that's another thing we've talked about in the past. So, yeah, lots of real sensible fixes there that would have helped had we got there earlier. Unfortunately, our podcast didn't exist, but, Benteke's career could have been saved.
I think what we've established is that Christians are the problem, and maybe the fix should be just to ban Christians from football.
Ban Christians from football. Or don't name your son or daughter Christian just in case they become a footballer.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So this goes out to
that's also a good shout.
All parents or prospective parents. Something to be mindful of. We fixed player names in the past. We've said what it takes to be a footballer. We just need to add Christian to the list of names not to name your child. And Christian Eriksen. There's a few fixes here. Again, some of what we've mentioned previously, but what are you thinking, Dan, first of all?
Well, I think the eye test should be a way of, rating more players, and it should be a bigger thing.
Yeah, exactly. And this goes, once again, back to a previous episode, fixing statistics. How we need to use them as a guide, but actually there's a lot more to football than that. And likewise, we fixed the systems of football and how all the mavericks have gone out of the game. The game needs to move back in that direction and move away from these rigid systems that everyone says is boring.
More footballers and less athletes.
Fewer.
Yeah. I'd like to see footballers. Oh, thank you for correcting my grammar there. I appreciate that. And of course, the biggest fix really of all in Christian Eriksen's sort of time is fixing Man United, which we've actually already done 2 episodes on.
That's true.
So
that's true.
It's another fix right there.
I've got a couple more final things just uniquely for Christian Eriksen, and that is one, he should have been born in an earlier era.
True.
So there's a first major fix from me there in terms of new, something we haven't fixed before. And secondly, he shouldn't look like John, because that's going to hold him back in all avenues of life, to be honest.
That's his biggest problem, isn't it, really? That's his biggest problem. Yeah.
Exactly. And speaking about John, here he is with some fantasy football juicy tips.
Ooh.
Juicy.
That's not very Christian, John.
John's juicy tips.
Yeah.
Alright, it's crunch time in FPL, and it's time to sort your winners from your bottlers, your Fergusons from your Keegans, and your Guardiolas from your Artetas. Now we know that Man City, Chelsea, Leeds, Burnley, Bournemouth, Palace and Brighton all have double game weeks coming up, so fill up your teams with these juicy tips. In defence, it's Nico O'Reilly for Man City. He spends half his time as an extra forward and scored 2 goals in the cup final, so should be flying high with confidence. In midfield, it's Esteval for Chelsea. Up until his injury, he started every game for a seniors team. And the guy is the next Neymar, so he's bound to score some goals if he gets a run in the team. And up front is the evergreen Danny Welbeck for Brighton. He scored 4 goals in his last 5 games, so in that double game week he could score a shed load of points. Juicy.
Thanks, John, as always. And he's right. It is getting into the kind of business end of the season now. What was it, 7 games to go? We've got a couple of double game weeks that you mentioned there. It could be a pivotal moment in your fight to get up the league. How are we getting on, Dan? It's been a few weeks because of the international break and the FA Cup weekend. Getting our heads back into the game again. How are we? Are we close to hitting mid-table yet?
I'm mid-bottom table, I would say. Somewhere like that.
I'm still scrolling.
Yeah, you'll be scrolling a while. You can keep
there
going.
You are. You're 35th. Nicely done.
Oh, it begins with a 3.
Yep, you're in the
Fantastic.
30s. Brilliant.
I'm quite pleased with that.
But unfortunately for you, that does mean you're bottom of our podcast team, which means you are, at the moment, at risk of punishment and having to do a forfeit. So, listeners, let us know what the forfeits might be. Last season, you can go and see on our channels, on YouTube and various other social channels, the forfeit that I had to do after losing on the final day of the season to Dan.
Oh, yeah, that was
the
funny.
Ice Bucket Challenge, it was wearing a United top, wasn't it, as well? Ugh.
Oh, it was great. It was great.
So
it was the absolute confidence in you beforehand that you were not going to lose to me that made it even more
I know.
satisfying.
I was genuinely, and it wasn't fake either. I was genuinely confident. I can't lose to Dan. This is going to be, even into that last game, I thought I can still beat him, and I was ahead of you. But then it really went down to the last few points on that final game. So this time, though, there's a bit more of a gap. But John is top of our league as we're going into the last few games of the season.
Oh, well done, John. He can keep his job now, can he?
He's currently on 1,899 points, followed closely by Stay Humble FC, 1,849 points. Not too far behind, but I don't know, John's starting to slightly pull away there. So it's going to be a pivotal next sort of few weeks. We'll see what happens. And if you want to join our league and show your true ball knowledge and see where you finish against all these legends of the game, you can join with the code SD4GZV and see if you have what it takes. So there we are then. We fixed Christians. I thought it would be a bigger challenge, to be honest, but
Yeah.
the curse of Christian in football, the curse of the name Christian, I think we've solved it.
Yeah, I think we have. I suppose the next fix on the list will be John.
That might take a bit more time. That is a challenge.
That's a juicy challenge.
Hope you've enjoyed the episode, everyone. Have a great week. Have a great Easter holiday if you're having any time off. And enjoy the football. We'll see you next time. It's a goodbye from me.
And it's a goodbye from me. Christians are the problem, and maybe the fix should be just to ban Christians from football.